switches cutting off very key paths around the map with the spreaders attached to them. So I'm expecting to see... we saw a lot of close-range shooters, and I believe some explosives to really cover the switches.
The Splosher is basically almost a cheat code on that map. Just can cover the switch and more or less one explosh. And I think we're about to get underway.
All right, let's see what we're running. Round 1, Adelaide Revenge, Brisbane Boom. This is for control over the first mode. Let's see what they do.
Adelaide in the orange, Brisbane in the blue. We've got Alzi with the H3D with all main power up. That is interesting. Versus Yosh's L3D.
We also have a lot of turf coming out from the CDS, which we're going to be seeing a lot of in this league, as well as a Soda Slosher and the custom Explosher to get a little bit of that extra turf coverage. They're really trying to play that height advantage, and I like to see it. Yoshiko using the Inkjet early to try and scare off the enemy team, not able to find any picks, but we do have an early control over the mid for Adelaide Revenge.
Down there for Adelaide Revenge, it's the CDS. Now the Explosion, that's 3 down now, so Brisbane are going to have an easier time painting as much of this map and establishing forward positions as possible.
Absolutely, and we can see there they've captured the central switch there, which has allowed them total control over mid, and they're now able to push into the enemy spawn. Controlling that center switch is vital for keeping your opponent at bay. Ray backing off from a 2v1 here, although they're being flanked on both sides. They are going to go down. That is 2 down for Brisbane Boom. Adelaide back in with another chance to push forward.
Yep, Cozy doing an excellent job as the most forward of center player now with the CDS. Great picks to really get them back in. It was looking a little dangerous there for Adelaide Revenge, but now they've established control again, but Yosh going down may flip that again.
Absolutely. Now look at that Explosher. It's able to just tap that switch, and if they get too many hits on without being checked, Adelaide lose entire control over mid. It's really costing them a lot of time here. They really need to start pushing forward and make something happen. Or, we have 3 down on Adelaide. Brisbane are going to be easily able to take control with that wipe.
Yeah, just the splash damage coming from all the different sides from the boom there, really bringing the boom to Brisbane. And really, Adelaide Revenge are back in danger again with a minute to go. This is crunch time now for them.
This has been a very turbulent turf war, flipping back and forth repeatedly. We have 1 member down on Brisbane, and that's 2. If they lose too many members here, they could lose their entire advantage they built up to this point. The retreat, Yoshiko's going to go and chase around, but that's a very hard area to push into with so much glass. Oh, Yoshiko with an excellent direct on the Inkjet there. They're going to go hunting for a second. They are definitely on the right trail, but they don't find a second pick. We're going to check the
replay of Yosh.
Yeah, deciding that fight wasn't worth it, and instead going for a lovely instant hit for that Inkjet. With only 20 seconds left in the match now, the fight is definitely not in Brisbane Boom's favor. Adelaide pushing forward, Yosh doing an excellent job staying up here. No team is in danger, but it's looking like Adelaide might be able to take this one out.
Yeah, it's looking like it. Yosh going on an absolute tear, and that is the end of time. Neither team was in danger, but that map looks very red for Revenge.
Absolutely, and what a fitting team color to win that one out with. A significant win for Adelaide Revenge. Yoshiko definitely contributing to that strong line offense, and also clearing up some fears I had about Adelaide Revenge's lineup. That offensive play worked brilliantly.
Yeah, Biscuit chiming in there with 7 splats. I'm sure the splash damage provided by that custom Explosher was huge, along with the burst bombs and the rain from the CDS. So, yeah, definitely some good team play coming out from the Adelaide Revenge. They were never really locked out, and they managed to get back in twice after wipes from Brisbane. So, props to them to turning around in the last minute and getting the W, which means they will pick the first mode in our set. I can only hope
that is a sign of what is to come with a back and forth like that. We're seeing teams that are very evenly distributed, and also what I was expecting to be a very defensive set of games. Granted, it may have just been turf war, but was incredibly offensive. Teams were lashing out and hunting, which I wasn't expecting to see from this kind of lineup.
Yeah, you can't really play too defensively in turf war. You always have to aggressively seek control, because if you don't do that, then the other team's just going to paint up the rest of the map. It's sort of free paint, if you will. So by really taking to the fight to them, they ensured that they had enough time to secure enough of the map in their color as they could, which they left it at a very good time. So props to the Adelaide Revenge on that one.
It's a well-earned turf war control, and now that they have that control, we are seeing Rainmaker for our first set. Adelaide Revenge, a team after my heart, knowing the best mode in this game. I'm allowed to say that? That's fine.
Yeah, you are, and I'm allowed to say that the Rainmaker is the best weapon in the game as well.
It definitely is. That unlimited ink, getting that large damage output. If you get it in the hands of a player who knows how to use it well, it can be a lot more destructive than a standard weapon pick. Okay, so with an opening of Rainmaker from Adelaide Revenge, this is definitely the kind of thing I expected to see from this team. It works well with the kit that they usually run. What kind of map bans are we expecting here?
So for Rainmaker, some of the I wouldn't say not so great, but definitely 50-50 coin flip kind of Rainmaker maps. So things like Black Belly, which has been reworked to no end, but is still, a bit of a coin flip. You've got New Albacore Hotel, Muscle Forge Fitness. If you can get a push,
we do actually
going.
have the bans in. So Albacore, correctly picked, has been banned. And Piranha Pit has been banned by Adelaide. They didn't want to play Piranha Pit.
Yeah, we saw that last night, I believe.
I believe that was a Melbourne pick, and it worked very well for their team composition. But it's good to know that these teams have a good understanding of what they're capable of, what they excel at, and we're just seeing that in their bans, plain and simple.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So I do wonder if they're going to substitute, or if the Adelaide Revenge are going to substitute Latias in for Rainmaker, given she's a defensive player. But otherwise, I reckon they can just keep the momentum going. A lot of these teams will be riding off of the wave of wins that they get and trying to keep the energy up. So I reckon we might see more or less the same lineup from them. Brisbane, they do have a fifth in there now, so we'll see whether or not they do decide to change it up. But Brisbane were getting the splats, they just weren't getting the positioning correctly to lock out the Revenge. So with Rainmaker, the goalposts are always shifting, so we'll see how they roll out for this next match on Manta Maria.
Yeah, absolutely. Manta Maker is definitely one of the more interesting Rainmaker picks. You've got a lot of very close, narrow corridors to move through. A lot of very easy verticality to obtain over your opponent. I mean, it makes a lot of sense for the players we see here. What kind of weapon picks are you expecting to see out of these players for this match?
So I reckon Yosh might still stick to the L3D. Cozy has been playing quite a lot of CDS, as we saw in the turf war. Well, it really depends on who's playing in these sets. So
yeah, actually, that's a very hard thing to predict, and I'm sorry I've asked of you.
No, that's all right. But at least we have a gauge on what kind of people normally stick to 2 or 3 weapons, right?
You want to play something you're comfortable with. You don't want to be trying out something new when the stakes are this high.
Yeah, that's right. That's what the turf war or the dead rubber. If a team's already won 2, has basically and if it's a dead rubber in the third one, then you can try out some things and see if it works. If it doesn't, then you just move on to the next set. As we're going in, Yosh is playing the foil squeezer. Yes.
Ooh, a nice pick. We also have a lovely golden dynamo coming out from Murray there, that is going to be able to lock down a lot of the narrow pathways that we will see on this map. Other than that, we have a lot of close-range firepower. NZAP T, that's a K-shot, Octo's shot, and the lovely Tri-Slosher Novo are providing a lot of that extra splash damage for the teams here. We have Adelaide Revenge in the green, Brisbane Boom repping the orange this time. However confusing that may be, we will move forward.
That's the salmon run colours. Now they're 3 down. Yosh is the last player alive. She's getting hunted down, but she's got armor. And the bubbles with the splat bombs, that's going to keep them at bay. Gets 1, gets 2, including the Rainmaker. So great defensive work from Yosh. She might get a 3rd, but no, she just misses the splat onto Murray there.
A lot of players would take a defensive stance, but Yosh knows that that corner is very nice for setting up an offensive attack, especially when you have bubbles ready to go like that. That was incredible play, and is definitely going to buy them the first big push of this round. We see Yosh just looking for picks with the Rainmaker, while the specials are coming out from the enemy team. Looks like Brisbane Boom want this one shut down quickly, and the bombs do find the Rainmaker, which is going to give them a good chance to get their turf control back in mid.
That's 4 splat, more or less 3 splat bombs on Brisbane Boom side, so definitely suited for Rainmaker if not quad sploosh 7s.
Ooh, we do have 2 down now for Brisbane Boom, which has given Adelaide Revenge a chance to get the lead and push past. They've even made it down past Drop Bob, doing an excellent job snaking through the opposing team there while they were at a player disadvantage.
Opgo's taking it to 30, Ray 25, unfortunately not able to get either of the 2 players that were in there, and I think this one's just going to go for a reset.
Probably a wise decision. There were a lot of members of Adelaide just sharking around the top platform there. Bob still looking for those splats and distracting the enemy team while Cozy picks up the Rainmaker, and they're going to go for another push. Let's see if they've actually... they have taken Bob out, so this isn't going to be a flanked push. And with that much turf, ooh, Cozy not able to get past Ray's wall of ink there. That is going to be a nice reset and potentially a neutral game depending on how these splats pan out.
Quite a delayed push there, as they didn't really make any traction by way of picks in there. And Ray 25 is going to get 1 on the retreat. Fantastic inkjet there, so that'll help their cause on their push. There's still 1 over on this left side. It's jumped out now, but they've lost the Rainmaker in mid.
It was a lovely predictive shot there by Ray, but now that their team are going down, they're not going to be able to capitalize on this. The thing is, both of these teams very much excel over gaining and holding map control, right? Which is why we're seeing such a flip of map control. Both teams are very good at doing this thing, so neither team can do it well. And because of that, we're just seeing team members going down individually, left and right. We saw an attempt at a push there on the Rainmaker for Brisbane, but they weren't able to sneak past Adelaide. A very strong defense, as we are seeing.
Yeah, Bobghost actually taking a bit of a dive there, and that is actually 3 down again. So we'll have to see if they make good use of all these splat and suction bombs, the Revenge, to really stop this push. As Ray 25, that's another white! Ray 25 is going to take the lead!
Oh, this is almost certainly a KO. They can't kill this. Oh, wow. That was unfortunate. A bad timing for the reset there caused a very unfortunate set of circumstances where multiple members on Adelaide Revenge just weren't around to keep the Rainmaker at bay.
Murray and Ray 25 both in double digits there. Yeah, really well done. There was some good fights, but Brisbane taking the win and capitalizing on the Revenge's quite unfortunate timing there. Bob Ghost had the right idea in taking the Rainmaker and resetting it, but unfortunately 2 of his teammates died in the process as well, leaving the free Rainmaker pickup for Brisbane in mid, and then they already had the advanced positions after they got their picks and just kept going. So
I think a lot of what we saw there was Brisbane Boom were constantly pressing forward into the enemy's territory, sometimes just 1 at a time, just to test the waters. And for the first 3 minutes of that match, they didn't find any openings. But in that last minute of that match there, they did find one opening and they were able to easily root out the entire defensive line of Adelaide Revenge. They just tore through the entire thing. And that left them with only one player to defend. And you can't defend a 1v4 unless you're Yosh at the start of that match.
Yeah, there's only so much you can do in those situations, and she was in the right position for that first push at least. But yeah, basically, as Chad is saying, snowballed from there. So, Adelaide Revenge, that one player that was left alive, was not in the right position, was found out immediately, and Brisbane capitalized with a knockout.
Yeah, that's the thing. Adelaide have a very strong defense, but if they let it up at any point, Brisbane are easily going to be able to capitalize on that. So Adelaide kind of need to iron wall this. They need to be a perfect defense. I think they're the team that would be the most capable of this, but it's not an easy task, even for players at this level.
Yeah, that's right. So we saw it in the turf war, and we saw it in game one. Brisbane have no problems getting the picks, getting the kills. It's just a matter of whether or not they can sustain or make that game-winning push to really seal the deal.
Absolutely. Now, Adelaide, actually, I believe Brisbane were the ones to pick that map. So now we are getting an Adelaide picked map. This is something that they are hopefully much more confident in. We're going for Muscle Forge Fitness. Now, this Rainmaker map is quite notorious for having one path. And while that's not entirely true, a lot of these teams will prefer to make a nice slow push up the ramp, just trying to buy each inch of ground that they can, throwing every special at it. Bubbles are particularly prominent just to buy that cover so that you can push up towards the goal. I'm not expecting to see too much of a lineup change based on what we just had, but what I am expecting to see is a few different weapons to maybe capitalize on the more open format of this map.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see if anyone really goes for the ink rail. I think the slow and steady ramp push is the way to go, as Adelaide don't really make any changes, and neither team really. It's just
this is very similar to what we had last round, and unsurprising, it works for both of these teams. They're very comfortable, and it is Rainmaker. These are very good picks for Rainmaker in general. The early neutral, we have a lot more players spread out on Brisbane Boom. Brisbane Boom in the purple here. They're just a lot more spread around the map to get that control, but unfortunately they are losing members to Adelaide Revenge, who are focusing a lot more individually, though Murray gets an excellent pick on the Rainmaker. They're going to be able to set up a nice defense and buy their team respawn time. That was an excellent early play by Murray there.
Rick's positioning was fundamentally perfect there, with the Dynamo Roller. Knows exactly the range, what the 100 damage range is, and now Alzi unfortunately getting taken down with the Rainmaker through multiple damage sources there, and that's 3 down now. Ooh, so Adelaide Revenge's turn to retake the lead.
Yeah, it was the lead for Brisbane, but Adelaide Revenge are now very easily able to move around here. Inkstorm and JSOD flanking might cause them some trouble, but doesn't. If they watch out for the suction bomb, they do get lead, and they have made it to the ramp. This is where the push really makes or breaks. We have the Dynamo with an excellent shutdown there. They did make it to 21 remaining, which is quite a good score, but with only one player left, they're not going to be able to improve it, and it's certainly nothing Brisbane can't match. Oh, look at that! Yosh manages to clean up the rest of Brisbane, and while not providing the best of jump-ins, is really going to buy their team a lot of time here. Murray thinking about picking up that Rainmaker, but is going to let it reset and get on their excellent positioning once more.
There was no need to pick it up there. They had mid-control already. Adelaide Revenge were 3 down, but yeah, it was great play by the Revenge to get to 21. They saw that the two players were on.
Is it happening? No, look at that. The rail just taken out by Yosh, I believe there, just making sure that that rail was not accessible and that the team has to go the long way around. JSOD not going to be able to move through those missiles and is flanked from both sides and is only able to take down one of them. That is probably going to spell curtains for this push unless this armor can keep them up, which it looks like it might. Bob Ghost in a good position to push.
positioning there was actually really good, but unfortunately they just had armor, did the Adelaide Revenge, and that really foiled his plans to try and sneak the Rainmaker a little bit further and try and take the lead. But as it is right now, Revenge in control with the Rainmaker.
Absolutely. Now what we're going to see here is probably a bit more of a slow push. They already... Oh, never mind. I was going to say they already had the lead, but looking at that, Brisbane excellently pincer out 3 of them. Yosh left alone with the bubbles just to try and get an errant pick to slow the other team down. Murray's not having any of that, and gets the assist on Yosh, is going to buy themselves a lot of positioning moving forward here. The specials are coming out now as well. Look at how many bombs are on that platform. So dangerous to move through. These teams are going to have to be very careful where they decide to position themselves.
Yeah, these bombs are an absolute nuisance right now as... Whoa, there we go. So that push is stopped dead yet again. And you saw how quick the Brisbane Boom were in hunting down that last player, Yosh. Unfortunately, the Adelaide Revenge haven't been able to do that, and it's become more of a neutral game again.
Yeah, they really need to try and lock down control here.
Alzi getting another few picks, getting those missiles off. Has pulled out the last ones on that snipe area. Has moved around. He's going hunting, Alzi.
Yeah, absolutely. If Alzi can... Oh, Alzi doesn't get the pick, and now the respawn is going to come in, and this is a bomb-heavy team. It is going to be very hard to move up that ramp without some significant picks on the board. The Inkstorm will do a bit of work, but won't be able to get any picks off the opponent team. That being said, there's only 2 left now for Adelaide. This is not an impossible push for Brisbane, but it may be their last, because they have lost the control of the Rainmaker there, and the Armor and Rain is coming out. Adelaide looking to pick up this Rainmaker and keep it. Oh, who's this?
Halsey on a flank, but gets shut down by Cozy as Bob takes another dip over the side, but I think that, well, this push is still sustained. It's a 3v3 again, Murray with the Rainmaker. Unfortunately, as the Dino picked it up, is going to be a little bit slower, but Murray knows how this Rainmaker works, and Alzi definitely knows how to escort it.
Absolutely, these players using the rail for its true purpose, getting a flank onto the top of that platform. This is definitely the last chance Brisbane have here. They have painted the bottom of the ramp, but there is no way the other team is not watching that, which means they have to get some serious picks if they're going to make this happen. The Inkstorm's pressuring the Rainmaker. They're not going to be able to get out in time. They do manage to just escape out the back, but they lose 2 team members in the process, which means their chances here are quite low. They probably don't have a lot of time left on the board. Bob Ghost manages to finish the game off there.
Bob just holding forward, and ZR classic NZAP style, and manages to pick off Murray and the Rainmaker, and that's gonna even it up at 1 apiece. Both teams winning their map picks.
Absolutely. It just goes to show these teams are very practiced and they know what they're capable of pulling off. Yeah, I mean, like, what we saw there was a lot of, again, back and forth. Neither of these teams have been able to lock out the other team because they're very defensive teams by nature. But, I mean, what we're seeing is just such a strange set of circumstances for these players. We're seeing, like, teams wiping constantly. We're seeing very strong flanks coming out, but then getting shut down by a very quick and alert defensive line.
Well, like, what we're seeing is actually very good Rainmaker play. So they've picked weapons that, you know, can almost hold their own, push the Rainmaker. Despite the fact that there are no sploosh 7s on either team, they're both both teams are very mobile. They've got bomb pressure, they've got special pressure and the bubbles, the rain, and just the ink armor in enabling the frontliners like Alzi to go on a flank and establish those advanced positions to clear a path to the Rainmaker. So really this is how you would expect a pickup to play. So it's only when you get those established teams that you sort of really go for those cheese plays, like really fast Stingray and then push off of that.
7.
Or quad sploosh 7. Like even a pickup could do that, but in these sort of circumstances, you play your comfortable weapons. You play weapons with suction and splat bombs and things that can hold off pushes more often than not in the right positions.
Absolutely. Now we're moving on to Blackbelly Skate Park. Not many people would pick this, I don't feel. This is a bit of a divisive Rainmaker map, but Brisbane have decided that this is where the point is going to be settled. Now, based on how we've seen these previous matches go, it's been very, no one's been able to establish control over mid for a long time. This is a map that doesn't really have a pivotal mid. You can play this game entirely on the outskirts? The exterior of the map. That's close enough. you don't need to push through the center here. While the center push is debatedly the fastest, if you can get the little box jump up onto the enemy platform, teams are going to be able to spread themselves out a lot more here. It's going to be interesting to see what a lower player density does to these teams and how they're supporting each other.
Yeah, in a world where straight up the guts happens to be over on the right side, I think teams will sort of gravitate towards the towards the slow push through the right side. But as they figure out where the other team's defensive positioning is, then they'll try and rotate around to that left side and go around the outskirts, the suburbs even. Depending on how big this map actually is, and actually go around the side. But the teams that find the least success are the ones that only push up through the one side, and they'll have to keep it varied if they want to win.
Absolutely. All right, let's see what we do have. Some lineup changes here. Very minor lineup changes, but lineup changes nonetheless. Or am I just misremembering?
You might be. I believe that's still the same lineup for
It is the same
Adelaide
lineup.
Revenge.
I just saw that end zap and I was like, wow.
No, the Bob Ghost holding forward in ZR as a good NZAP player should.
Absolutely. Now, early neutral here,
game.
very scattered. We have a big cluster here for Adelaide Revenge as they try and control center, whereas Brisbane, again, going for more of an exterior control, trying to hold all the flanks on the map. And the early picks again go to Adelaide Revenge as they're able to very quickly gather score. Wow, what an opening push that was.
Not caring about the bomb, just going straight for score, take it to 49. That's not an unsurmountable push by any means, but a good start nonetheless for the Revenge.
Absolutely. Now, missiles coming out on Revenge means that Brisbane have good intel on where the enemy team is, and they know where it's safe to push. Murray preparing for a push down the side flank with Ray. The CDS do get here in time, and Cozy is able to pick off the frontline attacker for this push. With only the Rainmaker left, I think this one is ill-fated. An excellent shutdown by Adelaide Revenge.
They are not able to secure the kill around there, and Murray gets booed for his troubles. But unfortunately, it's stuck on that left side for the boom. They do have backup support now that everyone's respawning, so yeah.
Amazing. I thought that one was dead in the water, but Murray able to keep that one alive and not only cost the enemy team special, but give their team enough time to get the respawn in. Unfortunately, ink under the foot when a splat bomb comes in means that Cozy is easily able to shut that one down. Not in quite the position it was when Murray had it, and we are going to see the reset to neutral. But a very nice attempt there by Brisbane Boom. Unfortunately, though, as they don't have the lead, it is just eating into their time. They can't afford to have attempts. They need victories. And this is looking to be one with 3 down on the enemy team.
Revenge can't afford to go 3 down all the time, leaving Yosh all on a lonesome. But she's more than capable, as we see. Absolutely dominating and holding her own as the forces the Rainmaker all the way over to the left side. She's got the bubbles now. Ooh, can't secure the splat onto Alzi, who gets traded out by Bob Ghost in the end.
Absolutely. Alzi moving very quickly, probably due to their very lightweight and easy to move in jersey that they're wearing, thanks to Strutties.
Absolutely. It's light and easy to breathe, and Adelaide Revenge are holding their breath right now as they get relentless push after push from the Brisbane Boom, but they're not making too many advances now over to 79. As I said, moving over to this right side should be a slow and sustained push, but the Adelaide Revenge are more than capable of defending from this position, as they've already rotated quite nicely.
Absolutely. At this point, Adelaide have pretty much blocked off this entrance. Oh no, look at this! Alzi finds a moment and pushes forward, but while extending their point lead, are not quite able to break through the enemy team there. Ray, being the only one left here, is going to try to get some sneaky splats to delay the enemy team. But look, they've been found out! An incredible amount of intel there. And Liam able to take them out. Well done. Alzi is going to get the trade back and buy themselves a bit of positioning. But that Rainmaker is already in the half-pipe and is not in a good position for Brisbane to retrieve. That is looking like a very strong position for Adelaide with only 1:30 left on the clock.
Find 2 players here. Can he secure the splat on one of them? Gets a trade, but that's 3 down now. 4 down now. So the Brisbane Boom can push over through this. Alzi just going absolutely nuts with. He's got the Rainmaker now, so whether or not the rest of the 3 players can get the picks if the Rainmaker can't.
Absolutely. Alzi wanting to capitalize on the enemy team being down, but not having the rest of their team there to position them means that they're just in the same position they were in before. If they can't get the picks here, they are going to not be able to push past their previous point. And they don't. Look at that. An excellent 3-pronged attack coming out from Adelaide as Yosh gets the half-pipe back, and they are looking to just keep the Rainmaker in this position. In fact, no, they're pushing forward and extending their lead. It's only a little bit of points, but this is so far away for Brisbane now. If they can't clear out Adelaide, they are not going to be able to score here.
With the 3-tap there, gets one of the Brisbane Boom players, survives that splat bomb somehow like a skater on a half-pipe.
Absolutely, a 180 aerial is going to keep them alive, and the Rainmaker resetting means that all Adelaide have to do is pick this up and they win. Brisbane know this, they're rushing at it, but they're not quite going to be able to get it. The Inkjet misses, and that is going to be the round to Adelaide. What a start!
Adelaide Revenge picking up the win after they picked Rainmaker. Yosh with 15, Bob goes with 14. No one, one player on Brisbane in double digits, but leave it 1v4 for Yoshiko, and she will make you pay. If you don't get that last splat in time, then she doesn't even need the backup, it looks like. But if you want to be a successful team, you got to be able to keep up with your best players, and the Adelaide Revenge sure did on that occasion.
Absolutely. We saw Adelaide Revenge, not only were they able to get those splats in those clutch moments, but they were moving around the map incredibly tactically. When they captured the Rainmaker, they just sat in the enemy half-pipe because they know half-pipe is such an easy location to hold the Rainmaker if you're not trying to push forward. There's so many walls you can protect yourself around, and that explosion radius is huge in that tight corridor. So, I mean, excellent work for Adelaide Revenge. We saw Brisbane getting quite a few key picks, but they were really married to that short push up the right side wall, and it didn't really work out for them because Adelaide were able to get into that position and lock it down.
Really good Rainmaker play, picking weapons with bombs, just throwing bombs, having all of that pressure applied on the Rainmaker carrier. And yeah, with Brisbane's pushes, they never really got Alzi in a good position to basically affect any splats and get the picks that they needed to reduce the number of bombs that were being thrown at the Rainmaker carrier. So really, really good Rainmaker play coming out from, well, both teams really, but especially the Revenge in getting that win.
Absolutely. Now, are we setting a precedent where Adelaide Revenge lose every round 1, but then get their revenge in rounds 2 and 3?
Oh, don't get me started on narratives in this.
All right, so Brisbane have picked the next mode, and they have chosen Tower Control as their round 2. This is a lot slower of a paced game, and it seems that Brisbane are hoping to slow down the pace of this as well. Definitely, they were. They're definitely good at their strong opening pushes. And considering how we've seen, they like to play the maps wide. They like to spread out and gain control over a large area. Tower control makes a lot of sense for them because they can really surround a tower checkpoint and just absolutely annihilate everyone on it. So I can understand why they've picked it. Whether Adelaide are going to be able to adjust their strategy to how Brisbane like to play, or if they're going to go for something a bit more comfortable, is going to remain to be seen.
Yep, and as we see, port mackerel has been banned yet again. I don't think we'll ever see that
You know
being
what? I
banned.
like to hold. I like to hold true that one day we will see Port Mackerel Tower.
Checkers will get his wish one day, but it won't be. It won't be in this set. As
No, it
Port
will not.
Mackerel and Manta Maria have been banned. Port Mackerel by the Brisbane Boom and Manta Maria by Adelaide Revenge.
Yep. Now Adelaide do get to pick the opening map, which can really set the precedent for this. Getting to pick the mode is all well and good, but the fact that the team that didn't pick the mode gets to pick the opening map, and in the case of a best of 3, if it goes to game 3, we'll get to pick the last map as well, is a very strong play position. So while picking the mode is quite powerful, you still have a lot of control if you're not in full control of the mode type. Like you really can tactically lock your opponent out of a good option.
Yeah, that's right. So, with all of the maps that are available still after this, we do have Arowana Mall, Inkblot Art Academy, Mako Mart, Schellendorf Institute, Skipper Pavilion, Starfish Main Stage, and Sturgeon Shipyard. So, plenty of variety on offer.
Lots of choice, yeah. We're seeing Anchovy as our opening map. Teams seem to be a lot more fond of this map lately. It seems like they're figuring out some particular strategies that can make it quite powerful. The tower is often at a height disadvantage on this map, so if you have some extra utility, if you have some ways to get some splash damage out and around the tower, you can really shut it down quite effectively.
But this, after you get it through the first checkpoint, it really snowballs from there, as you can throw bombs over to the high ground and prevent them from being able to access the tower from that way. And then from there, it's just a long street from spawn to the tower. So really good lines of sight for the tower riders and the team pushing the tower after that first checkpoint. But it's always about that initial push and that mid control that will be the key here.
Absolutely. When it comes to the high scoring territory, it's very hit or miss. If you're set up to defend, you can do a really good job on defense. If you're respawning, you're going to have a really hard time getting back into this map because it is quite easy to lock out. That being said, we haven't seen too much lockout from these teams so far, so maybe we will see some respawn last-minute stops on tower. I'm excited to see what the teams decide to do for this.
Yeah, well, we haven't seen splat zones yet, but yeah, you're right. Neither team has really been able to lock out their opposition and establish a sustained push for 1 to 2 minutes of just relentless pressure, because on the respawn they've just been there, been able to throw bombs, been able to establish good defensive positions quickly before the opposition's been able to make that position their own. So like you said, with the slower pace, maybe they'll be able to establish little areas one by one, and maybe that will get the tower going, as I think we're going to go. And we'll see if we do get any substitutions, and maybe Neru
I don't think we have any substitutions from these teams, at least not after Checkers was checking in with them. So I think we're looking at very similar teams. Yep, that is the same lineup, I believe.
So over to the Kansas Sloshing Machine from the Tri Novo, which is a good choice for Tower.
Absolutely. But other than that, we're not seeing too much of a change up in this lineup. We have an incredibly offensive lineup. And not offensive as in bad, but offensive as in very strong on the front line lineup coming up from our green team here, which, sorry, I'm getting all my numbers confused. The purple team here being Brisbane Boom.
Josh, 4, 1, 2 with the inkjet. Can she find a third or a fourth? Oh, the auto spec's taking us away from her. That's not fair.
No, we've got to get that
she lives through the inkjet.
Checkpoint has to be on here, but luckily Strutties have us with the instant replay as Yosh finds the moment and not only gets the dynamo, which is pivotal for this push, it finds a bonus splat as well and is able to land safely. They don't even get their jump camped. which allowed them to clear first checkpoint. Now, these teams are probably going to be playing this quite slowly. They're going to want to clear a checkpoint at a time, then maybe back off, especially if they've lost a few players. They have the full 5 minutes to try to get through all 3 checkpoints. There's no reason to rush it. There's no reason to try to steamroll all the checkpoints at once, especially when you're at a player disadvantage. That being said, with only 1 player up at the moment for Brisbane Boom,
she's eating her Weet-Bix this morning. She's on another inkjet, this time through spawn, and she's chasing J-Slot. J-Slot goes down. Yosh, you are absolutely nuts. Cozy with the CDS. I'm not able to secure the splat, but Yosh able to get Murray over the top side. This is looking amazingly smooth.
Brisbane Boom wanted to slow things down, and they've gotten the complete opposite of that. Jason able to get the tail rider, and they just clean them up with 1 point left. Oh my goodness, that's a clutch stop. And now we have Brisbane with a lot of work in front of them.
A wipe on 1. I'm gonna say it now, I have not given Adelaide enough credit in the pre-game. They have come out absolutely firing, and Brisbane, I think they've almost been boomed. They're very surprised, as surprised as I am myself about this. Alzie's not... Oh, there we go. Some fireworks there, unfortunately for Yosh, as Alzie grabs the tower. Now, Murray's already on the plat, Ray's almost there. They've got the positioning right. It's just whether or not they are able to secure the splats that they need.
This is a lot more of what I was expecting to see. They're going to clear this checkpoint. If they don't get any picks, they're going to play it nice and slow and just try and space the enemy team out. They do lose 1 and 2, which means they're probably going to back off the tower now and just retreat. They've cleared 1 checkpoint. They still have 2 minutes left, so they've got plenty of time to get the remaining 2. Adelaide, however, not quite able to... No, Liam does manage to get the trade there. Getting that classic Adelaide revenge on the board. They're able to easily get the splat back and push themselves back to the middle. With a lot of special ready to go for Adelaide now, it is going to be very hard for Brisbane to start this next push without some decent picks. And look at that overhead again. We see Brisbane spread out, trying to control a lot of the map, and Adelaide clustered together, ready to unleash their firepower. Oh my goodness, Yoshiko! That was
the dogfire.
Not only a double, but on an inkjet. Yoshiko, you are mad. This is great. Let's look at that again. Manages to get them on their snipe platform. Doesn't quite get that pick because their teammate gets it first. Could have been a triple, but Yosh is really firing on all cylinders today. That being said, we have 2 down now for Adelaide, so Brisbane are going to get another shot at this. With 1:10 left on the board, they are going to be able to reach second checkpoint if they can keep this momentum going. But to get to 1 remaining, it is going to be very hard for them to get a knockout here. They're going to really need to band together and just get those picks.
Adelaide's special use has been nothing short of fantastic this game so far. And yeah, Brisbane have got it to 53. They've cleared the first checkpoint, but Murray now in an advanced position. He's going to throw the Booyah Bomb over to that elevated area there. And
absolutely. Oh my goodness.
I think this is going to come down to the wire. All 4 players still up for both teams.
Definitely. The specials are starting to come out now. As soon as they're available, pretty much, they're being thrown out. The armor does save a few members on Adelaide, whereas we do have 1 go down for Brisbane. They are going to be able to reach this last checkpoint, but clearing it is going to be near impossible with another inkjet from Yoshiko shutting that down. That is incredible. With only 10 seconds left, Brisbane really need to get onto this tower quickly, but it is so well defended. Adelaide are ready in position. Yoshiko shuts it out, gets on the tower, gets another 2 splats. Why not 1 more?
Triple for a troubles, and wowway, what a game from Yoshiko. Really representing Adelaide. It's a home state, hometown. And gee, she's put on an absolute clinic today so far.
Absolutely.
Everyone in double digits for the Adelaide revenge. Very well played.
I mean, someone definitely told Yoshiko that there was a play of the game prize, right? Like, we're clearly seeing in spades Yoshiko with the clutch inkjets. This time, Adelaide not even going down to much of a disadvantage, just steamrolling the enemy team. Getting to 1 remaining. I mean, Brisbane doing a great job shutting that down at the last clutch moment. But, wow. Just wow.
You reckon she told her teammates to die so she could pad her stats?
I don't think so. We did see a few inkjet shots go right towards a freshly splattered opponent. So I definitely think that these are all being earned in spades. Yosh definitely proving themselves a strong proponent of this team as we move into our second round on tower control now. Adelaide did pick that map though. Keep in mind they were definitely prepared for that tower control map. Now that we have the pick coming out from Brisbane, things might be a bit different. You know, we might have like Brisbane might have practiced some like particular comps for particular maps that they know they can lock down.
So Brisbane Boom have picked Starfish main stage. That definitely does favour the aggressive rushdown, but the way things have been going at the moment, I think Adelaide have the better rushdown, and Brisbane have only just scraped by to really not get completely blown out of the water through Murray's dynamo positioning and knowing his range. But I think some of these players, particularly Ray25 and JSOD, really need to step up and getting their share of the splats.
Absolutely. I think a large part of this as well is just seeing how the teams are spread out on the map. We are always seeing Adelaide as a core unit. They're always moving as one. And Brisbane, they like to get map control. So they're always spreading themselves a bit thinner, just trying to really control a large portion of the map and basically punch above their weight. And it's working really well for Murray, who has the long range to really deny a lot of space. We saw it earlier when they snuck in to the anchovy forward positioning and no one could approach them. But while that did buy their tower a lot of time, the rest of the team haven't been able to pull off the same kind of thing because Adelaide come in as a group and just tear them apart one by one. So Brisbane are going to need to, like, they're star players. They're all incredible players in their own right. But Adelaide, I think, have really synergized. For this only being round one, I think they're doing an incredible job of playing as a team. The fact that Yoshiko is clutching a lot of this out isn't even half of the team's amazing score and potential that we're seeing here today.
Yeah, we're still yet to see Latias, which could even make Yosh's job easier. Of course, she might play. I'm not sure if we don't see her today, we'll see her in the coming weeks due to the minimum player games requirement.
Yeah, but actually, that's a really good point, you know, because Lanias and Yosh can take similar roles. Maybe they don't want to play them at the same time. They want to just save one for when the other one has to step out.
Yeah, even out the teams so that there's no weak team that they have at any one time. That's definitely a good strategy.
That is like season-wide planning. That is some big brain stuff. I love it. I love to see it.
I guess it's also working out that they don't really have a traditional backliner. They're just going all out, throw bombs, be aggressive, take advanced positions, and make sure Brisbane don't set up, which Adelaide have been doing exceptionally well so far.
Absolutely. Now, as we move into Starfish main stage, let's see what our teams are bringing. Brisbane probably going to need to rotate their setup a bit to get something working here. We do see a few slight changes coming out there from Brisbane, being the T-Tech, which I don't think we've seen so far today. And the K-Slosh machine is quite useful for this map as well.
Elsie was on T-Tech a few matches ago, but more Ray25 over on this NZAP now. So both players going down one early. Bob Ghost going down early for Adelaide Revenge, meaning no ink armor straight away. So it'll take a little bit of time before we see a push from them.
Brisbane in the blue here are definitely trying to get control of the stage before they push forward. Adelaide more focused on building their special and trying to wipe the enemy team, and they're very successful in doing that. The armor lets them clear out all but one of Brisbane's team, which means they are going to get the first push to potentially reach checkpoint. Let's see how they capitalize here. One does go down early. JSOD able to get a nice pick before going down to Cozy. Cozy trying to sneak onto that snipe platform. If you can clear out that snipe platform, first checkpoint is almost guaranteed, but look at that. Brisbane splat back. They're able to easily clear out the opponent team and set themselves up to get these spawn camps. Now look at the positioning here on Brisbane. They are perfectly set up to surprise any members of Adelaide as they pass forward. Owlsy using the inkjet early to try and get. Oh my goodness, Yosh! You know what?
Owlsy, down again.
They were positioned well. They were doing really well. Brisbane were in a good spot to shut down Adelaide. But, like, how do you deal with shots like that?
Splat everyone else's, which is exactly what Brisbane are doing, and they've got a sustained push. You highlighted earlier, that's one of the main problems with Starfish main stage is before that first checkpoint, there's, you know, quite a lot of areas that you got to clear out first, and Brisbane have been able to get through that now. Murray has been exceptional on this Dynamo so far, and Ray 25 picking up the splats now, getting one, ooh, unfortunately, even at their spawn, and that's going to be maybe the third checkpoint.
No, not quite. The Brio Bomb has to come up live, which floats them above, and they are taking out on landing. A very close call there. It could still go. They don't want to leave the tower alone right now. There is an NZAP sharking somewhere in their territory they need to be careful of unless they've jumped out. The Inkstorm coming out now to take control over the stage. An excellent push by Brisbane, able to very clearly define themselves as a threat in this match. They picked this map for a reason, and that reason is they are bringing the heat.
Yeah, it's working out well for them so far, pushing it to 5. That's a very good push on this map. Normally we do see it go all the way, but as soon as you go
see third checkpoint get cleared this early on though, which means Brisbane in a very strong position. We have the Dynamo now sitting on that tower, going to be very hard to approach. Cozy's going to back up a bit, while the rest of the team tries to get picks in mid, but we've got 2 down for Adelaide. Brisbane are going to take another swing at it, and if nothing else, they are buying themselves time. JSOD, I thought that was 2 directs, but might not have been. Not able to get them before the jump out, but look at this control! This is what I'm talking about with Brisbane and their map control. They have cut off every entrance to the tower here, and they are punishing anyone who tries to take one. And the specials are coming out now to further increase their dominance. They are going to be easily able to hold on to this tower for another 10 seconds at least. Squelchy's tries to pick out JSOD, but JSOD with the excellent movement is able to stay up and provide more backup for their team as they approach a very dangerous point for Adelaide. They are very close to that knockout.
1v1 work there from JSOD with the Ninja Squid taking full advantage of that and now getting traded out, but this tower is still in a forward position. Adelaide Revenge on the verge of getting knocked out here, but Ray 25 going down, 2 players going down. It's a 3v2 in Adelaide Revenge's favour right now.
Yeah, this push is looking like it's ending, but this is exactly what you were saying before. The members of Brisbane Boom just need to step up and keep up with Murray's level of play, and they're doing that. They're actually working well as a team here, they're coordinating, and their lockouts are becoming effective. So Brisbane definitely with a strong chance to win this one. Adelaide have a long push to go, and look at this! Murray still tapping the tower just to buy their team even more time to build specials for that final lockout. While we only have 2 up on either side, this fight will probably determine the rest of the pace of the match, and it is definitely going in Brisbane's favour.
15 seconds to go. Ray 25, excellent positioning there with the splashdown as the distraction coming in around the side and getting the 2. That should be game for the Brisbane Boom.
Look at that, Brisbane Boom are moving as a unit and it is paying off in spades. We saw them just take a 3v2 there. That is excellent play. They are really coming together as a team now that they realize that so much more is on the line here.
Even had the Booyah Bomb on the tower at the end to seal the win, so... yeah, 1 apiece going into another live game 3 for our second set.
Excellent work by the teams there. Yeah, I mean, we just saw members of Brisbane. They're stepping up here. They're ready to go. It's so exciting to see. Adelaide, like, they had very good early control over the map, but it didn't pan out for them this time. They just weren't able to break past Brisbane's ironclad offensive line. You can tell why they picked that map. They obviously had practiced it. They knew exactly where to lock down the positions of the enemy team. And there was just no entrance for them. Adelaide just couldn't push in.
I think that's where they've definitely picked to their advantage. So the straight rush down is very visible, very easy to see where they're coming from. So Brisbane using Murray, well, all of them really as nice distraction tools, and their positioning to come and clean up around the side was basically played that to a T. So maybe one to ban out next time if you're facing the Boom.
Yeah, something to keep in mind for sure is that they are very ready for that map. Now, our final map here to determine who wins tower control is Skipper Pavilion. This is something I didn't think would get a lot of play. I know that this is a very divisive map, especially, I mean, you wouldn't pick this playing against Melbourne. Like, just based on their lineup. Bad idea. But between these two teams, I think it's going to be a bit more even. We're definitely going to see a lot more of Brisbane's lovely control through mid. Which is going to allow them a lot of faster movement to wherever the tower happens to be when they need to defend it. Adelaide, however, are going to be very scary here. They're going to be clustering up and just dive bombing platforms and making it very unsafe for Brisbane to approach the tower. So this could really go either way.
I still think it actually does favour Murray Dynamo quite a lot here. It's very, like, as soon as you push that tower up to those elevated platforms, the Dynamo can just take free shots at will. So it'll be up to Adelaide Revenge's relentless bombs to be able to shut down any
also,
pushes.
I feel like a squeezer could be very nice at taking out a high Dynamo as well. Something with a very like quick tap to get that long range hit might be quite effective. I mean, a charger would also do an excellent job, but I don't think we're going to see any substitutions from these teams moving into the third round of tower control. They've already got their synergy going. They're already pumped and motivated.
They're going to ride that confidence into the next game. And wow, who do you think is going to take this one out? For the narrative, do you want Brisbane Boom to even it up at one apiece?
I would love that. I also wouldn't mind if Adelaide won, because then they get their Adelaide revenge for the last round. Like, I mean, both works fine. Brisbane Boom, though, they're definitely an explosive team. They're very strong when they're strong, and they're very vulnerable when they're vulnerable. So if they can keep a strong line here, they will be able to take this one out quite quickly.
I think it's still working it out as they go. Pretty much nothing's changed. Ray25 still on the NZAP with comeback. JSOD on the slushing machine, top splatting last game, and Murray's already taken that one, or both T-Techs down even.
Interestingly enough, Adelaide sent 2 people down mid for the opening to try and get mid control, and Brisbane sent 1 behind them, and it has really cut off their players. Now, moving into the first fight for tower control, we have 4 members of Brisbane taking on 2 from Adelaide, which is going to set them up for a very nice first checkpoint.
Getting back into a corner, and JSOD chasing down Cozy very quickly there. Oh no, Yosh getting splattered there. This is going to be a huge push for Brisbane Boom if Adelaide aren't careful.
This is exactly what I was saying before. When Brisbane Boom are booming, they boom very powerfully. They are absolutely in control of this tower. They have lost the top of the tower here to try and keep themselves up. And now that we have Adelaide in position on the top platform, they don't really have because they've lost their key machine, they don't really have a way of removing those players, especially while they have armor and while Murray is on respawn, so they are going to back off. It seems like the K-Slush and the Dynamo are going to be key for them on their offensives, so they really want to keep those 2 up.
Oh, Josh with the Inkjet gets 2, that's 3 down now. Owlsie's the last one, unfortunately gets taken out by Owlsie on a flank, but he cannot approach this tower in any way without losing his life.
I mean, they're able to concede the first checkpoint. It's a very easy checkpoint to clear, so nothing really lost there. But with the smart decision to back off, they now have an extra player going into this fight. However, they haven't managed to keep them around, and Adelaide are now 4-2 for the second checkpoint and probably the lead.
It's a delayed wipe. Unfortunately, one goes down on the tower.
Okay, there we go.
Liam's got the tower, and Liam's missiles actually was what stopped the push before, and now Yosh getting some nice shots off with the Inkjet. Unfortunately, not able to pick out one, but they're onto this last checkpoint. I reckon they're going to clear it.
They do, and we're not seeing anyone clearing them off. With only Ray left, they're going to be able to get on the tower, but they don't get any picks. That's going to be a knockout. That's not the way I saw that going at all. Okay.
Revenge taking out that match and the second set, meaning they are basically winners of this first round set between Adelaide Revenge and the Brisbane Boom.
Absolutely, but as Checkers keeps reminding us, every round matters, which means we are still going to play the third set, and we are going to go to the play all three on that set as well. If Brisbane Boom can get some points on the board, they will be in a much better position for the rest of the season. But yeah, I mean, I did say earlier that Adelaide are going to be swarming the tower and Brisbane are going to have a hard time approaching. And sure enough, Brisbane had no chances to approach the tower there at the end, as Adelaide were just constantly rotating around it. They weren't sitting on it, they were around it, which meant that there was no way to approach the tower. Didn't even matter if they took out the tower rider because they were going to get taken out shortly afterwards. I mean, yeah, you could tell Adelaide picked that map because they knew that they could swarm it. They did an excellent job in making that happen.
Yeah, that was excellent tower control play. They're using the tower more as a vehicle for their push and basically working their way forwards of the tower so that they can't approach Yosh with the inkjet, Liam with the missiles, everyone with their bombs. It was excellent work from Adelaide in preventing Brisbane from being able to get anywhere near it. Unfortunately for Ray 25 and a couple of the players, in the end, 1v2 or 3 around the tower is never going to end up in your favor. So Adelaide Revenge are your winners of this round one set. And
Absolutely.
so
And I want
our
to say,
third, yep.
something I didn't see in the stats, I just want to go to it quickly before we move on to our next set, is the amount of specialist play we're seeing from Adelaide Revenge. Like, their subs and specials are so on point that their main weapon play is kind of taking a back seat here. They're really bringing it with all this utility. I'm really happy to see that.
They're still winning their 1v1s, which is very important in being able to keep that ball rolling in your area. So, but yeah, they have been excellent in their use of bombs, in their special coordination. Don't get me wrong. Yoshiko has absolutely been one of the highlights of today with the inkjet picks, but the supporting crew has definitely stepped up and come along for the ride too.
Absolutely. So we're moving on to splat zones. I suppose not too surprising from Brisbane Boom. We're not going to be seeing clams for this set. We might still see it today, depending on how it goes. But I mean, get used to it. This is it's Firetail League where we have picks from the players, so we can't force anyone to pick a mode they don't want to play. That being said, Brisbane, I feel like their map control would make them much more suited to splat zones, and I am surprised they didn't pick it for set 2. But I'm not surprised to see it over clams. And I'm definitely expecting Brisbane to really bring it and be a lot stronger in this set.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they would like to win a set here. Like it's never good to start 0-3 in a set versus a team that wasn't as highly fancied as they are. So yeah, they need a bit of confidence going into the second weekend of the Firetail League by picking up a consolation set here.
Absolutely. I'm telling you, man, Adelaide Revenge, they may be the underdogs, but I strongly believe that this team has the ability to like take it to the top. Like the amount of flexibility we've seen from them today in how they've coordinated as a team, how they've used everything that they've got to really just apply pressure. I definitely think they're going to be a strong contender for the series as a whole. Not to count out Brisbane, of course, like a very strong set of star players. And if they can practice during the weeks and coordinate a bit more strongly, like we saw on that Starfish main stage tower control map, I reckon they are going to be set up to really take some strong victories. So, yeah, I don't want to count either of these teams out. They are both incredible teams.
I mean, I knew it would come together for Adelaide. I just didn't expect it to be this early on in round one.
Very true, very true.
So incorporating Latias, not a problem. Just just don't have a play. But they'll need to have a play at some point, and how they do that will be very interesting to watch in the weeks coming. But for now, still no subs, so they're just gonna keep riding off of this
Yeah, I
I'm
recall
surprised
some
not
of the
to.
teams mentioned they liked to stave off substitutions during a match just because it's nicer to keep a consistent flow with your team. You build up that sense of awareness, you begin to internalize how your team members like to play, and you know where they're going to be positioned. And for splat zones, that's very important.
Biscuit in for the Adelaide Revenge, getting those games up and getting some valuable experience, going Dynamo versus Dynamo against Murray.
Ooh, I do like to see it. And different Dynamos as well. We've got Gold Dynamo on Biscuit versus the K Dynamo coming out on the other side. Brisbane set for an early... Oh no, hang on. As I say that, Adelaide get control over the zone very... Oh no, wait, no. Brisbane. Okay, I'm getting there. Brisbane have control over the zones early, and a lot of the map as well is quite pink for them.
Adelaide ends up working in their favour at the moment, but as I say that, they do go 2 down. One of the ends up's gone down, 3 down now. Murray being the last one up. Can he get a flick? He does get one, but not before going down.
Yeah, I mean, on Yosh, very valuable flick to get, but that is definitely going to be controlled for Adelaide, and now Adelaide are going to begin their lockout. This is a map where you need to be watching 2 sections to really get an effective lockout. Cozy's watching one of them here, which is the drop down onto conveyor. The other one is the conveyor street, which the rest of the team seems to have covered. And they're not really conceding too much ground, although it looks like while we were watching Cozy, Brisbane have managed to get back in and get control over the zone very quickly. Cozy using those excellent dodge rolls on the CDS to escape the opponent team there, and get a pick as well on Alzi.
Just a little bit too much, I reckon. Just leave Cozy down there and be done with it, and establish control of the rest of the map. And as a result, they've come back in, and it's a 4v4.
Oh, neutral with only a point difference as well. I didn't notice that until just now, but JSOB will be fighting very hard here to try and get that. But the 2v1, Adelaide positioning themselves well again, are going to be able to get the cap and put the penalty on the board, just while they've maintained their lead by a single point.
Taking out, getting a suction bomb rush out, putting it on the zone. Oh no, dies to a suction himself. Unfortunately, that's not one of his. And now Adelaide Revenge are 2 down. Brisbane Boom still yet to fully take control of both zones yet. Alzi or Biscuit with the Dynamo on the steps, doing just fine. Says anything Murray can do, I can do as well.
It looks like Brisbane are trying to wipe out the members on the enemy team of Adelaide before they try to push in, which unfortunately isn't working too well for them, as Adelaide are just maneuvering quite well today. They are moving around the map at quite a pace. That being said, Brisbane have finally gotten their wish. They've taken 3 down. They will take the zones as well, and with a very short penalty between them and lead, they are probably feeling quite good right now. Bombs coming out from Adelaide do take out a few members, and Yosh is able to get the double there and get the neutral cap as well. That was an excellent play. Adelaide played that at a perfect pace, and with not a second to spare on that penalty.
Putting out a fair share of 1v1s, gets another inkjet pick over on the steps, so that'll be even more points for Adelaide Revenge. Going down to 50, I reckon it's going to go down to around 40 before it gets neutralized, unless there's a few more picks. There is one JSOD actually going down, and so this is crunch time now for the Brisbane Boom. Murray going down now as well. Adelaide Revenge has very good control. Last up is JSOD, and that's going to be a splashdown cancel. This might be a straight knockout here now for Adelaide Revenge.
It's not going to be a good position to come back from. We saw Murray using the Booyah Bomb to try and buy their team some space, but when they went to move in, all of Adelaide had pivoted perfectly around it and were able to get back in. That trade is not going to cut it. That is going to be a knockout. Adelaide Revenge just playing so strongly right now. They've really gotten into a groove.
Yep, winning with a substitution in there. Biscuit in for Liam, and it's worked out pretty well for them. Yoshiko and Cozy both in double digits. Bob Ghost painting the world almost. So very well done, very well played by the Adelaide Revenge. And Brisbane Boom are going to have to go back to the drawing board and find out what works for them.
One thing to keep in mind as well is that while Brisbane did pick splat zones, Adelaide did get to pick that map. So, like, the map is such a huge difference here in how the set is played. It's not surprising that Adelaide picked a map that they knew they could be effective on.
Yep, you're right. And we'll see as Humpback Pump Track is the next pick for the Brisbane Boom. So single zone, I reckon it'll do them a few more favors in diverting their attention away a little bit less. So they seem to be pretty good at those sort of getting picks and getting establishing control in one area. It's more about their rotations and preventing them from getting in another area. So with the two zones, that's going to be very difficult to keep track of, especially as a pickup team. But as they go on, I think these single zones maps will suit them a little bit better.
Absolutely. It's definitely more beneficial to the weapons they've been picking so far, and as well, the way they position their team, the way they like to play, is to get that wide spread over the zone. And this is a perfect map for it, right? You just have plenty of high snipes that you can protect the zone from while also taking out opposing members, and then your frontline players can easily flank under trenches and just make sure that there's no safe approach for the enemy team. It's definitely not a lockout friendly map, so they will just have to maintain that mid control. But I think if any team can maintain a mid control for the entire match, it's going to be Brisbane Boom.
Yeah, I think with how Brisbane are setting up with JSOD on Slosher, Murray on Dynamo, maybe we might see an Explosher come out from Murray as well. That's going to be a lot of splash damage coming out. So with how they basically are able to see the entire map essentially from mid and basically get 30 to 60 damage for free. That's going to go a long way to preventing Adelaide Revenge from coming back into the zone. That being said, they got to take control in the first place.
Absolutely. I think they're going to be able to do it. Brisbane, I think, have the kit here, and like they've definitely picked this map for a reason, right? They know that they can make this work. So I would not be surprised to see Brisbane get early control here, though we have seen, actually, based on our previous matches, Adelaide usually play a bit slower to start. They get more opening picks, which allows them to get the first push on the objective. If that persists, I don't know how Brisbane are going to be able to handle it, so they might need to adjust their own speed to make this really work.
Yeah, of course, one of the downfalls of Sloshing Machine Dynamo. Oh, here we go. Explosher and Tri-Slosher. So the retake potential is much improved from Brisbane Boom, so we'll see what happens over this. But Bob Ghost with the Kenster Splattershot Jr. The bobbles are out.
Absolutely. I love to see it, especially on a single zone map. It makes a lot of sense to get that extra coverage. We have Adelaide with the early coverage, but no picks going either way yet. The Inkstorm coming out now to apply a bit of pressure, and we have Brisbane with the advantage here. They're going to be able to get a good amount of mid-pressure. And a wipe! Excellent! That's exactly what they needed. Now they just need to get set up in their positions, and a wipe is an excellent way to make sure that can happen. The Inkjet providing that forward pressure, but does go down, which means that JSOD is going to have to really put in some work to make sure the enemy team doesn't get into the zone. Already 60 remaining on the scoreboard. They're doing a great job keeping this together. Booyah Bomb comes out now from Adelaide, is going to be able to apply a lot of pressure to this zone. Booyah Bomb's particularly favorable for Humpback Pump Track because of the curved nature of the zone. It can ink more, and we have the trade go down in the trenches, which means that control is going to flip back to Adelaide. Brisbane are going to have a tough... No, they flip it back again! Brisbane are able to easily just get that little flip and then stay around. They are just being little pests right now, and Adelaide are not happy about it.
Yeah, Adelaide now counting down the points. Booyah Bomb coming out. There's only two specials out now for the Brisbane Boom. Armor Inkjet, always scary. Yes, gets one with the help of the NZAP, and that's 3 down. Just the Bob Ghost left alive with his bubbles. No, he's taken down. So that's another wipe. So they're still getting the picks, but they're not able to capitalize all the way to secure a knockout. What
I will say there is that the Inkstorm coming out from Adelaide did buy them a lot of time there, as Ray was trying to capture the zone but couldn't out-turf the Inkstorm. Hopefully that time doesn't come back to bite them in future, as we have Adelaide with a very strong re-entry, taking 2 out, only losing 1. The 2 Booyah Bombs are easily going to be able to recap that zone. Booyah Bombs are brutal on this map.
Yep. Well, I'm surprised, but not surprised. Aerospray PG is a viable weapon on this map and mode. You just paint the zone from behind the little block in there, just spray and pray, and then you basically booyah bomb all the time. But
now, Brisbane have taken out all but one member on Adelaide, while Bob Ghost is up and keeping the zone on their colour because they have just secured lead. They're not going to be able to stay out for long if they stay in mid. They do go down. We have one down on either team, but Brisbane have the better positioning right now. Adelaide a bit scattered, but they do manage to win the fight in trench, which is going to get them control. This jump is probably ill-fated. No, they do manage to make it in. JSOD is going to be able to apply a bit more of that pressure and get that penalty reduced. Brisbane are so close to having this lead back. They just need to be able to lock out Adelaide for a short amount of time. We can see all of Adelaide back on that top platform, just trying to find a way in. Brisbane, if they can lock out all the entrances, will be able to do it, but the Junior bubbles in and is going to be able to apply neutral to the zone. The CDS is able to get away, and the Booyah Bombs come out, which is going to put that penalty right back on the board. That is not what Brisbane wanted to see. They needed to get the picks before the Booyah Bombs happened. Josh is able to go 2 for 1.
2 for 1. That's excellent work. Very, very worth it. They know where the last player in JSOD is, over by this left side there. Ooh, Biscuit! Great positioning there, and gets away with it too. They weren't there for the respawn, so unfortunately does get taken down in the end by Murray's Explosion, but the time is ticking. And Bob's got his bubbles ready. I reckon they can.
This baller coming in as well. Yep, here it is. We are going to see a neutral at least. Although the bubbles will come back over and potentially... No, the penalty does go on before the bubbles are burst. That is exactly what Brisbane needed, is more time. Unfortunately, they also need picks to keep that push going. The Inkstorm is going to make it very hard for them to get cap. And with only Ray remaining around the zone, it is not going to be an easy retake. Alzi is coming to join up.
Alzi's able to jump in, but no, gets taken out by the Booyah Bomb.
The Booyah Bomb takes 2 of them out. That is going to be a very tough spot for Brisbane now, as Adelaide have full control over this map with their player positioning. Yeah, Brisbane are just going to have a real hard time getting back in here now. They are trying to, and do get 2 down for 1. The baller comes out as well, which means they are going to be able to get zone control, but they need to hold it for a long time. They cannot afford to lose it now, as we are about to head into overtime. The first serious overtime we've had so far this set. Brisbane are excellently positioned. You can see they're very well spread out over mid. They're watching all the entrances. They've already taken 1. JSOD with an excellent set of picks. This is looking good.
And Alzi's going to go and distract them for a little bit, but no, Yosh takes Alzi out, but Murray is right on the case.
Oh no, the double Booyah Bomb is going to be able to cap the zone if they're not careful. The baller comes out to counter it, and it's successful, but not for long enough. Double Booyah Bomb plus the Dynamo was more than enough to capture that zone in the last seconds there. You can see both the Booyah Bombs being prepped. They knew that would win them the round, but the baller was not quite enough to bring that back. Oh.
They played that end game of the map excellently, and just in the nick of time as well. Adelaide Revenge taking out the set. 2 games in that Splat Zone's best of 3 sets, so they do win this set 3-0. So now it's up to Brisbane to save face. If anything's to go by, they should win this map, because each one of them has gone 2-1. But if Adelaide can win this final, what we call game 9, well, it's really game 3 of set 3, then yeah, they will be on top of the ladder for now they already are on top of the ladder by games 1. So yeah, Brisbane really need to pick up a map here in order to avoid potentially getting bottom in week 1.
Absolutely. I don't think either of us could have predicted this would happen today. Like, to have a team that is this well coordinated by round 1, like, it's just kind of unfathomable. Like, they have had 5 to 6 weeks to prepare and practice as a team, and clearly Adelaide have made a lot of that time. And it's just showing in the results here. We do have our final map picked by Brisbane. We are going to Snapper Canal, which is a very interesting zone. I'm excited to see how this one pans out. Yeah, Brisbane. I think they need to try some fresh new strategies. I think if they can coordinate their star power around a team strategy, they'll really be a force to be reckoned with. Yeah,
Yeah,
so just looking at the players that we've seen today as well. Like Brisbane have been stepping up now. Like we've seen a lot of the players on their team doing quite well. But I don't think we've seen much of like we haven't seen Latias yet. Chad has been very poignant in pointing that out. We haven't seen Neru and we haven't seen Will today. We know that they're around, but they just haven't been subbed in very significantly. I wonder if those players are the cohesive glue that this composition needs. Whether they've gone in with this opening set, but maybe it's not their strongest set. Maybe they could change how they're coordinating their sets to really bring some boom to these matches.
in terms of Will being Will's naturally a support player, so he would potentially take Ray 25's position, but he's doing a decent job at NZAP. Neru would be an interesting one in that I don't think she would be able to cope with Adelaide's rush down as well either, but Murray's having to do single dynamo flicks, whereas the Splatling could maybe go 1-for-1 at least. As you see, Ray 25 going with the Gold Nautilus.
Ooh.
And yeah, there's very interesting picks coming out.
I mean, it's a good choice for this map. I understand why you bring it, but if you're not confident with it, it can be a dangerous weapon to have in your hands. That being said, with the stakes being kind of where they are now, it's okay to try some things out. We have a very early lead here for Brisbane Boom as they've taken out the entire enemy team. Where is this coming from? They've positioned themselves brilliantly. And now Alzi is going to be ready to spawn camp. This is going to be excellent for them. Moving forward, look at this. Adelaide just don't have an entry point. This is something they haven't had to deal with yet. It's just an absolute rush from Brisbane Boom.
Yeah, very well played. They're playing Snapper Canal very effectively, splitting the map north and south. Alzi being the distraction and actually coming in and cleaning up through mid. It's a very...
Walker is a nuisance. They were holding back 3 players on the team there. Very well positioned, and that's another wipe. That might just be a KO.
Wow. Where was this from the Brisbane Boom? It took them until game 9 to...
a bit too late here. They are losing players now, but only 1 is left with Yosh. I think they've got this. They just got this. What is that? What?
So, Adelaide, not that they gave up, but they just unfortunately ran into the Brisbane Boom players every time they came out from spawn. Yosh with 5 and the rest with not too much. So the only resistance there, but it was a very good change of pace from Brisbane to make sure that Alzi got the armor off almost straight away. Keep them distracted in mid. Alzi got the pick over on that right side, and from there it was just a huge steamroll, and they got advanced positions. They prevented Adelaide really coming in from any of the drop zones. So they played that map very well. But
it just goes to show the fine line between an incredibly tight match and a 0-100 KO is just 2 team wipes. If you can pull off 2 team wipes, you are set for that kind of play. And I think Brisbane Boom, they're just showing why they are still a force to be reckoned with in this series. Like, don't count them out. They can pull some amazing stuff. This is why I have Brisbane Boom predicted as my spoon, because like they can be a team that has a bit of trouble. Like they may not get there all the time, but when they are on point,